Let's discuss now with Republican Congressman Mike Haridopolos. Congressman, thank you so much for sharing part of your afternoon with us. What are you currently hearing about this search and rescue effort? What's your reaction to it?
Well, we're all concerned. My son is in the United States Air Force, and I'm very concerned about what could happen next. So it's very important we, one, take care of our, of course, down member there in Iran. But we're optimistic that we can continue to push this against Iran so they no longer threaten not only that region, but the entire central part of Europe.
You've said previously that your constituents' biggest concern is how long this war is going to go on. Do you think that this development complicates the president's 2 to 3 week timeline for an end of this conflict?
Well, surely. I mean, we're all concerned about what's happened to this downed pilot. We need to do everything we can to recover that pilot and also continue to destroy Iran's ability to project power in the Middle East.
As you
I'm
just
optimistic that we can knock them out because
Go ahead.
It's so essential that they take away that threat to the Middle East. Remember, all of Iran's neighbors, Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, are all aligned with us because the regime is such an evil entity.
Yeah, so when you hear this reporting about recent U.S. intel assessments showing that Iran still has roughly half its missile launchers, thousands of one-way attack drones remaining, and that the regime is more hardline now than it was before the start of the war, are you confident the U.S. is going to end this conflict with a more peaceful Middle East, within Iran that is not potentially belligerent against its neighbors?
Well, we're not exactly sure who's in power in Iran in some cases. What we do know historically that Iran never tells the truth. They lied to Obama. They lied to Trump the first time. They lied to Biden. Now, of course, who knows what they're saying out there in public to try to save face. What I do know is that we have destroyed much of the Air Force, their Navy, their missiles, and some of their factories. But there is clearly more work to do in order to try to bring peace to this region for the first time since 1979. And I hope that we can work together with our allies to open up the Strait of Hormuz.
So that's a very different message than we've heard from President Trump, not only on the Strait of Hormuz, where he has said that U.S. allies should go and take it, but also on being ahead of schedule when it comes to destroying Iran's offensive capability. Do you think the White House needs to clarify where we are in this war? Because the argument that we have dominion over the skies of Iran is contradicted by some of the events that we've seen, like today.
Well, I think we're still trying to find exactly what happened with that F-15 jet. And what we want to do is make an opinion once we know all the facts before us. But there is clearly a threat in Iran. And again, but this is the very reason why we went in. Marco Rubio clearly outlined the concerns we all have, which is if they continue to stockpile these weapons, whether it be drones or missiles, they would be an increased threat if we did nothing. And they would have the ability to create a nuclear weapon and using these as a defense so we could not get at them again. Again, we all got to be rooting for the United States here because the evil regime that is Iran. I mean, think about it. They killed 30,000 of their own people. Imagine what they want to do with us should they have the opportunity with a nuclear weapon.
There's no doubt about the regime in Tehran's intentions when it comes not only to the broader Middle East, but to the West as a whole. I guess the question is what it would cost the United States to truly affect change there. Because if your definition of success is crippling their military capability, or at least half of it as of right now, and then the same regime stays in place in order to rebuild that capability in a matter of time, would you define that as success?
Well, Boris, look, these are the questions we're all asking now, and then this is why the president is going to be giving a full report along with Marco Rubio. But I think we all recognize the Navy of Iran is gone. We also recognize that anything on the Air Force-wise is gone, and we have knocked out their leadership structure like never before. But there is more work to do. But remember, thousands of Americans have died at the hands of the Iranians since 1979,
Sure.
And we know they are the source of evil, meaning terrorist activities in the Middle East. And we have to do everything we can to try to diminish that threat. But they are still a threat. And I think that's why the president has continued to take an offensive action against Iran. And we hope our allies can help us defeat Iran once and for all and allow the people of Iran to live in freedom as opposed to fear.
Well, I mean, what you're saying in terms of defeating Iran, it sounds like regime change.
Well, what I'm saying is I think the people of Iran have been destroyed as a people since 1979, where a small number of people have all the power, and you've taken away the rights of women and across the board. I think what the president is trying to do is create a situation much like we have in Venezuela, where it's a more tenable situation. And I hope that our allies can help us keep pressure on Iran. And what has helped us a little bit is, of course, that we have a more independent oil supply here in America, where we're not as reliant on the Middle East as we were in previous administrations.
But, Congressman, the difference between Iran and Venezuela is that in Iran, you have a regime that is dedicated to martyrdom for their cause, which is essentially a refutation of everything that the West stands for. They're willing to die before they surrender. In fact, they cherish the opportunity to die for their cause. So it's not like you can easily find someone like Delcy Rodriguez to try to leverage her into opening an economy or taking on a more Western-friendly position, a more U.S.-friendly position. Is this just an effort to find a way to change a regime that seems to be impossible to change at this point?
Well, I think the people of Iran want freedom. It is a micro clique here that have been oppressing their own people, killing their own people. And I think we're hoping that this strong show of force by both the United States and Israel and all of their neighbors are saying, Iran, it's time to change your colors. And hopefully we'll see a situation where the people can move in a position where that new leader, whoever that might be, can actually stand up for basic human rights and not fund evil murderers who have surrounded not only Israel, but other parts of the Middle East and cause all types of death and destruction. I don't pretend it's as easy as Venezuela, but it is a situation where we need to handle this once and for all, because whether it be a Republican or a Democrat president in the past, we all recognize the threat of Iran. And sadly, even all that money that President Obama was able to give them and try to reduce sanctions did not change their mindset. Sadly, they only understand force.
Congressman, one final question. The White House seeking a roughly $1.5 trillion defense budget as part of their fiscal 2027 budget request. That's a 40% increase from last year. Would you support that?
At this time, we don't have enough information. But what we are focused on is trying to get DHS funding. We're hoping that the Democrats will support us in that measure, considering Michigan's been attacked twice, Texas, Virginia, on the homeland. And so we would have hit that first. The president's going to have to make a strong case to increase spending by that dollar amount in order for us to move forward.